Greetings, Wing Chun family, One Dao Wing Chun Academy, and all martial arts and Kung Fu enthusiasts. My name is TJ, and I am here to deliver a video essay on Module 1 of the teacher training program through the One Dao Kung Fu Academy. In this video, I hope to highlight specifics around the history of particularly our lineage of Wing Chun, the main fundamentals that set us apart or set our lineage apart from some other Wing Chun lineages, particularly the idea and the identification of the energy body separate from the physical body. I guess not separate from, but in addition to the physical body. And then finally finishing up with some personal attributes around growth and the Nim Tao state, or the mind-body state, that we tend to focus on as one of our main fundamentals and foundations for this lineage that resonates through Yip Man into Chun Son Tin, and now taught by Sifu John Kogan. All right, first off, starting with the ideal of what is the Nim Tao state. Basically, Nim Tao state is just a mind state that you are a part of, that exists everywhere. It's the Akashic. It is the energy that surrounds us, that penetrates us. In Star Wars terms, I would suggest it's probably attuned to the Force. So anyway, the idea that we are a part of this, that we are not separate from it, and that we can attribute the fundamentals to this state are, one of the big reasons that I am a part of this lineage now, maybe if not the main reason. So going back into the history of Wing Chun, we go back 300 plus years ago into the Shaolin temples and the Shaolin monasteries, where a Shaolin monk named Ying Mei was potentially, as per legend, one of the heads of one of the Shaolin temples, if not the main Shaolin temple back in that time. And upon Ying Mei's death, they legendarily discovered that this monk was actually a nun, a female. And I kind of wonder the attribution to Wing Chun, had they known that she was a female in her lifetime. Maybe some people did, maybe some people didn't. Regardless of which, the idea that someone could create a martial art that was so powerful, that was so disruptive to other people's centers, despite their abilities to have to strive potentially harder and have to challenge themselves even more, makes this martial art even more legendarily awesome, in my opinion. Also, the fact that it can be trained all through life, well into old age, kind of interdependent of your physical prowess. Specifically in our lineage, because we attribute so much to the energetic platform. So moving on to the main fundamentals of the energetic platform, we break these things into 5 different pieces. First off, we start with intention. Then we go to centering ourselves. Then we go to sensing and syncing and seeing. I'll describe all these. Right now they're just words, but starting off with intention. Easily described as attuning ourselves to a higher, a deeper, a spiritual intention, a different frequency of consciousness that's attuned with our personal growth, with what we want to be, what we want to achieve, what we see ourselves as a perception of our best qualities and what we hope to attain through our life, if not in the immediate present, and then also into our future. So there we go, intention. Is a main fundamental of knowing why we're here and where we're going. Then the other 4, centering, sensing, syncing, seeing, are kind of attributes into magnifying and radiating our spiritual intention. So first, starting off with centering. That's simply attuning to the higher frequency or the deeper frequency of our intention, and also attuning to the specific flowing of energy that goes through our center. While simultaneously hopefully accessing the Nim Tau state or being a part of this field energy that is the Nim Tau state. Within centering, there are many ways to access our center. Obviously, this is a martial art. Many of us enter into this as a physical sanctuary to learn our physical base and become more attuned with our physical nature. We're kind of going from, we're zigging when we're zagging in the Chin Son Tin and John Kogan lineage, being that we kind of go towards energy and then move more towards physical in order to create deeper power and more power. But in martial aspects, you know, we want to learn how to fight better. We want to be more powerful and physically faster. We hope to attain faster reflexes and better skills for defense. And also the physical nature, specifically in Wing Chun overall, is getting yourself into your spine and awareness of your spine as your main physical support structure, as well as, you know, the center of your center within that region of your spine. So then we move into personal development within your centering, simply growing as a human, understanding thoughts and emotions, understanding the physical and the energy body, tuning with the energy centers, as most people know, are called chakras. They reside, you know, not only through our main 7 chakras, through what is also known Vedically as the Sushumna, or the energy center that runs through, straight through your perineum and all the way up through the crown of your head, starting from the ground. There are also over 114 other prime chakras all the way through your body that are a little closer aligned to the overall meridian system. And these energy centers and energy conduits have not only been proven, but reinforced and proven by Kirlian photography, also sometimes known as astral pictography. Regardless, when you bring your awareness in and through your center, you can open yourself up and begin to access more and more of these energy centers the more you become familiar with them. Overall, being able to give off better controls and commands to your physical body, thus increasing power through your body and your spirit and your mind. Most important part. Maybe one of the most important parts at least. And then finally, in centering, there are many more, but some of the 3 main ones is the concept of healing through your center. Healing is obviously the more altruistic side of centering. So not only considering the healing and well-being of yourself, but also the healing and well-being of others that you come in contact with, or just are in your area, maybe even in conceptual visualization. Healing power, of course, emanates within the state consistently, because we are, of course, all human. We are all imperfect. And we are all in need of healing. And what are we here for if we're not here for each other? So this, the healing of ourselves and the healing of others is a main fundamental of centering yourself for many reasons far past what I can describe and have time to describe right now. So moving on from centering, we move into sensing. So simply becoming aware of one's space, being conscious of our etheric body, bringing consciousness away from physical matter and more into an energetic, ethereal space, which brings the concepts of matter particles being perceived and observed as both energy in the form of wave functions, and opposite, as we now understand this concept, you know, thanks to the quantum double split experiment, sensing can also be visualized as particles, as actual matter. So through quantum field, we have the perceptualization dependent on who's perceiving it as both energy and matter, which is super fascinating. Regardless, I digress. Sensing our space starts in our own space, though. That's what we need to really truly understand, and it extends outward into our auras and into our energetic field, and even way, way beyond, if not infinitesimally beyond, as cellular sensing energy is now known to be a constant throughout the entire universe. In essence, feeling, you know, just beyond yourself, not more than yourself, but, beyond yourself. It's a great concept, and I really love the wording around it specifically. So censoring this energy field is firstly highly important from a martial perspective, so you can defend yourself and you can defend others. And it's also crucial from a healing perspective, so you can inevitably heal yourself and hopefully heal and potentially defend others as well. So there we go in sensing. Syncing, a big one for a lot of people. Letting go, surrendering, releasing energy, choosing to not identify with energies that you want to avoid, choosing to identify with energies that you want to nurture a little deeper. So syncing can sometimes be considered primarily as a downward energy, often associated with the concepts of, like I say, letting go, surrendering, releasing. And though syncing energy can and does go down, it also releases in any and all directions depending on your motivation and your intention. Moving energy, also known as kinetic ether, is actually, for lack of a better term, actually it's a pretty good term, isotonic. An isotonic just basically means it's a balance and a flow which is directly related to your central energy body. And depending on the perception of focus, it actually can be related to your actual physical center of your body. So I could go into that a little bit deeper, but syncing energy can go anywhere as long as it is moving to surrender, to let go, and to release. Also to ground. Gravity is a phenomenon and a force that helps with this syncing ideal and nature. And last but not least, we have seeing. So seeing obviously is known sometimes as visual energy, but we also understand that visual energy can obviously be perceived without our eyes. And when we attune with our higher energy body, we can just as easily or even more easily perceive visual thoughts and envision concepts through our mental space. So in certain cases, the idea of temporal fugue might come to mind. Imagine yourself walking from one side of a room to another, or going on a trip and getting in your car and being at your destination. That mental, space and time can happen instantaneously. Then mute that to a physical location. Watch how long it takes someone to walk across the room. That's a very interesting concept, isn't it? Like how much longer it takes for physical time to go than mental space and mental time and envisioning that time. Also the concept of once you reach your destination, you can think back to the moment of the beginning of your destination, and almost like time travel, it's like all that time in the middle, it happened, but our consciousness connects from one point to the other, kind of like a wormhole. Anyway, I get trippy on all this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with our curriculum specifically, but stuff, areas where my mind wanders once I'm training, and especially when I'm training into the state. Overall, the idea of seeing is the words and images that you replay to yourself on a daily basis affect your reality directly, and not only affecting your reality by being fully in tune with your own energy, it often attracts like energy similar to what you're emitting as well. Warding off and disrupting energies can also be a part of our visual energy, especially if we're trying to disrupt non-conducive or energies that we're trying to avoid. So overall, the Nim Tao state through intention, centering, sensing, syncing, and seeing unifies all these attributes together. And while attuning and aligning these multiple frequencies into a more singular wave function, one can simultaneously manifest and unify with effortless ease and enhance our structural physicality and our energetically powerful state of being. So yeah, moving on past the initial foundations, we'll move into the ideas of spirituality and personal growth. My journey from spiritual and personal growth began as far back as beginning martial arts when I was 9 years old, but really came to focus when the ideas and concepts of biokinesiology, which is now advanced into what they know as psychokinesiology, began to take hold in my life. My father was in a horrific motorcycle accident when I was about 11 years old. He was in a rock slide, slid off, banked, went over the guardrail, fell 60 feet, shattered his entire leg, punctured his stomach, his lungs, broke every part of his body on the right side, bounced off of that little cliff, fell another 60 feet, landed on his leg wrapped around the back of his head, and he lay in a gully dying for hours as his bike continuously went along the guardrail and actually looked like it was parked along a place where people would park on the side of the road. So people just kept passing him for hours and hours and hours and hours. He lay there until miraculously a responding team with a fire truck, an ambulance, and a cop car were coming back from a domestic dispute that turned out to be nothing. And the guy that was driving the fire truck, who had the highest vantage point, noticed my dad's bike, drove the same bike as my father, and noticed that the back turn signal fairing was actually fallen off. And at that moment, when he noticed that, the reflection of my dad's visor down in the gully through the sun shone in his face, and he knew someone was down there. This guy was actually an indigenous of Kodiak Island, Alaska, and he got out, and the first people to come upon my dad were medically trained EMTs. He went down into the gully and came upon my dad completely non-responsive, and instead of doing initial CPR, because he didn't have the equipment to really do that, he started doing spiritual trance over him. That being said, whatever you want to go into, how much you believe into that, my father evocated, he came back, they statted him back, and he told me that he had had a past life experience or a end of life experience. That being said, he went through many, many years of medical treatment, first thinking he was going to be quadriplegic, then thinking he was going to be hemiplegic, then paraplegic, and then finally getting into a wheelchair and getting up onto crutches and eventually walking. A lot of this is attributed to some of the company that he kept around the biokinesiology and psychokinesiology foundations, such people as Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden, and later on down the line, Joe Dispenza. So I was raised around this ideal of your thoughts directly affect your reality. This is why the energetic part of Sifu and One Dao Wing Chun is so important to me, that we start there and then move into the more physical terminology. Obviously, like I say, I started martial arts at a very young age. In Budokan when I was 9 years old, but what's most important is at that time and age, I got to see some Bruce Lee movies. And at the moment I saw Bruce Lee, I was like, dude, this guy has the spirit. He's got like that. He's got that moxie. Whatever it is, he's got it. And at a very young age, I was like, who was this guy's teacher? And so I found out that this guy's teacher was, at one point in time, Yip Man, and that Yip Man taught Wing Chun. And basically since then, it's been a lifelong journey to find a Wing Chun Sifu that kind of incorporated, my ideals and where I come from a biokinesiology, psychokinesiology basis. And, I went through several Wing Chun teachers. I even built myself my own Wing Chun dummy when I was around 13 years old. And though it wasn't 100% practical as an implement and a tool, it was pretty badass. And it still looks cool, and it's still on my front porch. And, I could probably still whack it around. It broke a lot of people's hands as they, thought they could fight a piece of wood and didn't realize that the piece of wood is a symbol of fighting yourself. So anyway, exciting stuff there. Point is the first half of my life, being a product of my environment, I came from a pretty tumultuous and chaotic upbringing. And the first half of my life, I really fed into being a product of my environment, my insecurities, and, very emphatically around the turn of the century, the second half of my life so far, I was introduced and adopted into accessing more of my internal nature, surrendering, dissolving, letting go, and in essence, accessing that deeper level of spiritual growth for myself and the unitary compassion really for all things. Especially like, non-judgment and non-bias. So being open, being the constant learner, that's a big part of my spiritual growth there. So there's my area for spiritual growth. Kind of going back simply into some history, Grandmaster Chunsan Ten, he was Sifu's Sigong. I kind of wonder when Sifu will turn into a Sigong, being that Grandmaster was one. And Sifu's got to be getting there by now. Anyway, Chunsan Ten was a student, but more importantly, like a really close friend, almost like a brother with Yip Man, having spent a long time living with him. He noticed that Yip Man was able to overpower people, with very little effort, and he wanted to learn the lineage. So Chunsan Ten, being recognized by Yip Man as having a very high level of adaptability and awareness, Yip Man realized he was a pretty quick study. And so Chunsan Ten asked Yip Man what is the, kind of the secret of the Wing Chun or the training, and was very interested in this idea of Nim Lik, mind power. And he became, kind of fascinated. So when he asked Yip Man the secret of Wing Chun, the training and the practice, Yip Man told him, you need Tai Gong, simply keep the back straight and lift through the center. Focus everything forward as the main fundamentals of Wing Chun state. Use no force and develop mind power of the Nim Tao state. And that's what he told him. That was his information. So Chunsan Ten, basically, as he told everyone, the legend goes, he believed him. He understood what he said, and he's like, yeah, man, I'm picking up what you're laying down. And at that point in time, he chose to train day and night, as we do, as the idea of Kung Fu, person who trains all the time. But the thing is, what's really fundamental there is the power of belief. And as Bruce Lipton, is the creator, is the main backer of trying to prove the theory, the actual proof of the theory that beliefs directly and absolutely affect our reality. This is a huge fundamental turning point for Chunsan Ten, and one of the reasons he became known as the king of Sun Tao. I mean, he trained day and night, and he believed it, and he believed in himself, and he believed in his master. So, cool stuff there. Similar to honestly, Dr. Hawkins. Bruce Lipton, really, if you guys ever have a chance to look into him, he outlines and advances the concepts actually and the practical theories behind the immense power of identifying and opening ourselves to our integral beliefs. So belief systems are huge in this lineage. But belief systems can also strangle you and actually smother you. If you believe too hard in something and you don't leave yourself open to change, your belief systems can, backfire. So be very careful about that. Adapting and strengthening our belief systems are crucial to the process of healing and recovery, especially, as most illnesses are actually rooted in a stuck and stagnant belief system, like I was just, mentioning, a lack of flow, a lack of ease, a dis-ease, so to speak. So I'm specifically training in this lineage because of its incorporation into biokinesiology, evolved into psychokinesiology as the rooted foundation of this Wing Chun system, and actually in all other internal arts forms, yoga, Tai Chi, any internal arts forms, I hope, would be fundamentally founded in these kinds of energetic platforms. So speaking of internal systems and forms, Tai Chi. I've been a practitioner of Chen style Tai Chi for 25 years. I truly believe that Tai Chi is the sister form of Wing Chun. If Wing Chun was the yin or the yang, the focused forward, then Tai Chi would be the sister form, the yin. Whereas Wing Chun disrupts the center, and Tai Chi is very much more fluid, much more moving, laying back, allowing things to go by, circular formations, much more like water. I kind of incorporate it to, if Tai Chi was a river, Wing Chun may be the rock. Well, maybe not the rock, but more like a salmon or a fish that swims upstream, through the water, using the water to make its way, through the center. I make a joke sometimes: a Tai Chi master and a Wing Chun master meet in the woods to fight each other and prove their worth. They sit there, or they stand there, and they stare at each other. That's about as far as you have to go with that. Both of them in defense capabilities probably are very equal, but once they both start to get into offense capabilities, that's where you actually kind of find the little cracks. So anyway, fun stuff to talk about there later someday. I also, as a teacher, add elements of the Vedic philosophy and yoga into my martial art teaching and training. Primarily, I bring extra attention to breath work and flexibility. Though there are many similar attributes within yoga that are directly reflected through all internal arts, both martial and peaceful internal arts. Particularly the awareness of our fluctuations of our mind, the things that cross our mind consistently, that cover up our true witness nature, that fill our mind with things that we have to think about, that pull us away from our pure self, our ability to withdraw from our sensations. Rather than sensing sensations within our physical body, we need to be able to be in touch with those. So in yogic terms, it's known as chitta vritti, fluctuations of the mind. So to allow these things to pass is like looking up into the sky and allowing the clouds to dissipate so that you can see into that infinitesimal blue sky and truly, discover who you are by looking into the beyond. So yeah, I get a little frou-frou there. Sorry for the hippie jargon, but it's what we do here. So coming back to the energy body, if you want to get proficient at becoming attuned with your energy body, funny enough, you have to first become attuned with your physical body. To get it a little bit, up there to where you're like, okay, this isn't serving me anymore. Now I need to transgress past it. Sometimes moving into your energy body and finally coming into tune and understanding that it actually exists is known as the etheric double. Within the etheric double, that sometimes can be defined as the aesthetic ether or feeling energy. It can be described as imprinting ether, which is visualization energy or envisioning energy, and obviously kinetic ether, which is moving energy or the energy of movement in many cases. Also psychic movement and energetic movement. So it kind of is a dual, concept there. In all the energy bodies, is the energetic blueprint for the physical body. It happens, it's within us, it's ingrained, and it's actually, overlaid through our physical body. And it's from the energy body that we channel our thoughts and all of our emotions. So that's something really pivotal to think about. It all comes from us. Our etheric body is also, or our energetic body and our etheric body is also a link to our psychic body. Our psychic body is the body that is entrained with our feelings, with our emotions, as well as our intuition and our dreams. This lineage specifically is very deeply rooted in accessing these particular resonant frequencies, energies, and all the energetic bodies. The auras, the chakras, the meridians, and many, many more, the doshas, the koshas, in Vedic terms. There's so many out there. I'm pretty sure we don't alienate any idea of energetic bodies that I'm aware of, except for, energetic bodies that are non-conducive to our well-being, but that's for the unique individual to decide for themselves which those are. So, you know, past these bodies, even potentially the astral body, like, your body being, someplace off in a different universe, who knows? Overall, as we train to focus forward physically and energetically in Wing Chun, we do that with an energetic projection as well. Sifu has brought the center meridian to a level to where we put it outside of ourself and filter energy through that system ahead of ourself, as to not create stagnant energy through ourself. So one of the also many awesome attributes to this particular lineage. So yeah, basically coming back to the very simple idea of bio and psychokinesiology. This is directly related to what the One Tao curriculum teaches and what we learn in this lineage. The power in your body increases or decreases based off of what's happening in your mind, and also what's going on in your current environment. That's an important thing, or how you perceive what's going on in your current environment, or what you believe is going on in your current environment. All these things are major factors. So once you have mastered the connection to your energy bodies, then the Nem Tao state ceases to become something that you access, and you begin to understand that it's actually something that you in fact are, or are a part of. Or have a symbiotic nature with, like I say, it's kind of like the Force. It binds us, it penetrates us, it is a part of us. It's like we can't exist without each other. So, point is, it's something that continues to be a part of you at all times. This way you can access it at will, however and whenever you choose, throughout your life as you need. Then coming down, finally, ending up with the idea of thoughts and emotions. Being that our beliefs directly affect our reality, we have to understand where the mind goes, our chi, our vital energy, our prana flows. Potentially the most crucial consideration of this construct is that we can choose to become aware and accountable that our thoughts and emotions actually feed through our own personal energy and our experiences. So this concept basically comes down to, how would we like to condition the qualities we would like to nurture in ourselves? And how would we separate those from the qualities we would hope to avoid and eventually dissolve within ourselves? And that's a fun question, once again, very similar, very unique to the individual, and a path that we all must take. Fun fact, it's actually this ideology and philosophy of energy bodies, in Vedic terms known as doshas in the yogic vernacular. Regardless, these energy bodies, along with the knowledge of meridians, chakras, were actually originally incorporated into the fundamentals of Wing Chun originally. So, however, due to the feudal times in the past couple centuries, and the areas where Wing Chun was developed wanting to modernize their culture a little bit, some of the holders of Wing Chun lineage and traditions, including Yip Man, chose to actually remove these vital energetic components from the curriculum. And this is inherently the specific reason I gravitated towards Sifu Kogan's school and his teachings. So, like I say, I looked all over my life. I've had a few Wing Chun practitioners, mostly fed with ego, mostly filled with physical attributes and trying to physically power and force their way through stuff. We approach it a completely different way, and in my opinion, the best way. So now, as an instructor in training in Sifu Kogan's One Tao lineage, I strive particularly to utilize and teach that any one of these energetic gateways, intention, centering, seen, sing, seeing, king, seeing, will activate and ultimately attune the Sin Tao state for those who choose to practice and train in this system, day and night, if you're truly inspired. I challenge you. You would not be disappointed in the results. So overall, to sum up, once we have a deeper connection and attunement to our frequency of energy, the more of a connection we have to our abilities within our physical nature. And as per the double slit experiment in quantum physics theorizes, our understanding of duality of perceptualization in the quantum field may even be able to inversely enhance and potentially effortlessly increase our focused physical power. So when united with the fusion of our intention, centering, sensing, syncing, and seeing, aka the Nim-Tau state, creates a form of superpower within us and is indestructible as per Yip Man. And if you don't believe that, watch the movies. They're all real. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed my video essay and look forward to training with you all in the future. Thank you so much.